Let's spill some tea today. Oh, delicious, but I have to be honest, it's not tea, it's coffee. Actually. Hi, bonjour, my name is Tina, I love to yap about books. If you're new here, hi, welcome, thank you for being here on this corner of internet. I'm in an in-between trying to figure out my life, I'm trying to find a job, and after finding a job, I'll try to find my place. Hence the fact that where I'm filming, it's kind of a mess right now. I have all my stuff in boxes, if you don't know already. But I've seen some movies recently, movies that were adapted from a book, and I wanted to yap about them. So first disclaimer, it's only my humble opinion as I would give to someone I just meet, and I want to talk about it and just, you know, have your opinions too and compare a little bit. I'm in no way professional, that's my very humble opinion, alright? With that on the table, we can start. Let's yap and rant about the films I've seen recently because I need to, I just simply need to. Let's review them chronologically. The first one I've seen is not in 2026, it was in 2025, but late 2025 it was. Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. Well, okay, how can I say it without making myself enemies? I know I'm not the only one to think this, but I didn't really like it. I thought it was okay to meh. I know. I know. Sorry, not sorry. First, for the book by Mary Shelley, I didn't really like it either. I think it was because it was one of the first classic books I've read. I was super hyped for it. English is not my first language, I'm French, and I think it was quite hard to engage with the characters, and yeah, I think it was maybe a little bit too soon for me to read that, but I would love to reread at some point. I gave it like 3.5 stars when I read it. The film by Guillermo del Toro, it's like a 3 stars too. The only thing overall that I really like with this movie, 2 things, 3 things maybe, is Jacob Elordi's and Mia Goth's acting. I really loved how they played their characters, even though I don't really like how Elizabeth was portrayed in this movie, and I guess it's Guillermo del Toro's choice. And I love the aesthetic. That's the thing. I love gothic settings, I love gothic piece, I love gothic work. So the setting and the decors and the costumes, Mia Goth's dresses and everything, she was gorgeous. She was just stunning in this movie. But aside from that, yeah, I didn't really like several things. Where do I begin? I'm gonna try to review them quite shortly. I'm not gonna do an in-depth analysis for each of these movies because otherwise it would be too long. This video would be too long. But I didn't like first the very easy dichotomy between the creature and also the madman, the mad scientist. It's only that. It's like the mad scientist is a bit excused too because when he was young, his father was abusive to him. I'm gonna talk about some spoilers. I'm just gonna put spoilers when I'm gonna talk about spoilers, which is not the case in the book. In the book, his father is not that abusive. His parents are very loving, and thus it doesn't excuse the fact that he becomes quite despicable in the book. I mean Victor, and in the movie it's a little bit more excused because he was abused, so he's abusive himself. And even though I agree, being abused is not an excuse to become abusive in your life. It's removing a little bit of the complexity of the character of Victor because in the book he's just pursuing his ambitions, but he also at some point asks himself questions. And you know, he's processing, he's doing what a therapist would do but for himself. He feels really guilty, which is something Victor in the movie doesn't seem quite to be. But the end, I'm gonna include spoilers right now. The fact that the creature was perceived as someone that has empathy, has abilities to speak and to learn and to love, because he is gonna love Elizabeth. And the death of Elizabeth in the movie, no, I didn't really like it. And I didn't like that at the end, creature is forgiving Victor, which is not the case in the book. In the book, it's rather the moral of everything is finite. Death gives dimension to your life. And here it's rather about forgiveness and romanticism. So no, didn't really like it. I thought it was quite Hollywood-like. Yeah, no, it was okay to me. Also, in the movie, it's a little bit too focused, according to me, around Elizabeth and Frankenstein obsession for Elizabeth. I mean Victor, right? The scientist. I don't know. It was not very, no, it wasn't necessary. Some lines also were a bit cringe, like, "You're the monster."
You're the monster.
Talking to Victor, because it's not obvious enough that he's the monster and not his creature, because he played with life, he wanted to play with science, and he lost. We understood that. We didn't need to be also told. But yeah, overall I thought that the movie removed a lot of depth from the original work, which is a shame, to make it a little bit romanticized. So for Frankenstein, if you ask me, is it worth it to watch it? Maybe. A small maybe. Really small. Next I watched People We Meet on Vacation by Brett Haley, and I would say the book is a 3.5 stars, 3.25, and the movie would be then a 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so just let me say at first that if we take this movie for what it is, without comparing too much to the book, it's quite a good rom-com. It's okay. It's really like, it's enjoyable, especially because the actors, I love them. The fact that there is Jamila Jamil, this was a good fan service, okay? And Emily Bader and Tom Blythe are just perfect for these roles, I think. But once again, if you compare it to the book, unfortunately, it removed so much depth and so many moments that were important for the story. So very quickly, it's about friends who had a dispute and they didn't talk for 2 years. And the girl, Poppy, works for a travel agency, kind of. She travels for work. And she contacts him. She's like, I want to be friends again, kind of. But she's kind of like, kind of shy about it. She doesn't really want to say, hey, I just want to contact you because I miss you. She wants to do it rather subtly. And his brother is marrying. She ends up organizing very cheap summer, because they used to go on vacation together for almost 10 years each summer together, and she makes him believe that she's going on vacation at the same place his brother is marrying and that she invites him. But in the movie she doesn't invite him. She's just like, oh, I'm going to end up working in Barcelona to where your brother is marrying, which is, by the way, not the same place as in the book, but it's okay because Barcelona is much more romantic than Palm Springs, I would say. In the movie, he's just like accompanying her to her hotel, whereas in the book, they spent the night together at the hotel, kind of like Airbnb. It's really just a B&B, and it's removing a little bit of like forced proximity and trying to work things out together and get back to being friends together. Now onto the spoiler part. In the book, he's not Alex, the other protagonist, the best friends of Poppy. He's not dating Sarah at first. He meets her later. Whereas in the movie, he's dating her even before they meet, which is a shame to me, but okay, just, yeah, whatever. Let's go with it. At some point, they go on vacation together in the movie, which is also the case in the book, but it's different. It's in Florence, I don't remember really correctly. And they're, hold tight to your seat, they're both in a relationship. Alex with Sarah, as we've said, Poppy with some random guy, I don't remember, it's okay. It doesn't really matter, and she's afraid that she's pregnant, and because Alex's mother dies giving birth to him, he's kind of traumatized by it. Poppy confesses it to him because she's taking a pregnancy test during this summer in Florence in the movie, and they kiss, and Poppy's like, oh, whatever, it doesn't mean anything, no, let's forget it. And Alex was like feeling vexed because it didn't mean anything to him, it meant a lot. And the day after, because he's pissed, he got engaged with Sarah. Yeah, something that would never happen in the book. In the book, Alex is very loyal. He would never kiss while dating Sarah. They dated and broke up, and they did broke up a lot of times. I don't want to yap too much about it. It's quite a shame because it removes a lot of essence from the characters that we love. But if you take the movie for what it is, I love the actors, I love the places they travel to. It's much more, I don't know, endearing, I would say. And I loved to see the Canada trip. If you know, you know. So if you're asking me, is it worth it to watch? Yes, but don't expect a faithful adaptation from the book. That's all I'm gonna say. The next movie I watched is, unfortunately, I even went to the theater, to the cinema, to the movie to watch it. It's Wuthering Heights by Emerald Fennell. The original work by Emily Bronte, I've heard, and I've understood really recently that it's pronounced Bronte and not Bronte. My brain chemistry was altered when I learned about it. The original work, didn't really like it either. You may already know it. I yapped enough about it. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. And thus, I had hopes for the movie because I was like, if it's a modern adaptation, I could love it, and there's Margot Robbie. But when I heard about Jacob Elordi's cast, after reading the book and knowing that the main character should be a colored man, I was a little bit upset too. And when I watched the movie, I was horrified. Team no. Team this film should be thrown to the deepest depth of the world, never to be discovered again. I'm not gonna yap too much about it. The book, as I've said, I gave 3.5 stars. The movie, I would give it 1 star because of the costumes and mainly the dresses of Margot Robbie. But other than that, where do I begin? It was not even what Fennell's does best, because I loved Saltburn. It was cringe in the best way possible to me, even though I heard there are quite a critics about the poor always plotting against the rich to get their money, which is, I mean, maybe fair, I don't know. We want to eat the rich, so yeah. I expected something more gothic. I expected some cemetery scene. I expected some ghosts, which are all features of the book she was supposed to be inspired from. On the contrary, 14 years old Fennell imagined a sadomasochistic film, over-sexualized, in disguise of feminism, which was even not, and a racist movie, where the protagonists of color are not colored people, and the white, who are the villains of the story villains, are colored people when they're white in the book. Reversing the whole concept and the whole moral and everything the original work is portraying, and was something very ambitious and what's the word again? Revolutionary for its time, especially by a woman, and to just throw it all away. No. No, Miss Fennell, it doesn't work like that. How a 14 years old could imagine such a thing is beyond my understanding in all imagination possible. So no, thank you. I thought it was cringe. I thought that the two main characters didn't have any chemistry. I thought that despite the beautiful aesthetic of it all, it was empty, devoid of all meanings. The 2 hours felt super long. It's the worst 16 euros I've spent in my life to see a movie. Truly. I really want to make a whole video about it, going more in depth for why I didn't like it, even though you have the overall idea of it. A lot of people made videos about it recently, so I don't know. But I really want to just add my stone to the wall, you know, so it's itching my brain. I might do it because I wrote a lot about it. It was one of the worst movies I've watched ever. I tried to watch it for the movie in itself because I didn't like that much the book, but it was such a disrespectful movie, truly. Next, a week ago, I went to the movies because also there's the Spring of Cinema in France during 3-4 days, which makes the ticket like 5 euros, which is nothing because usually it's at least 10 euros. But I watched Project Hail Mary by Chris Miller and Phil Lord. The book for me was like a 4.5 stars, 4.75, 4.5, 4.5. And the movie is the same. It's so, because of the recent failures of movies adaptation I watched recently, I went into it without having too much expectations, but I think they did a fantastic job at adapting this book. They transcribed the comic tone of the book perfectly. Ryan Gosling, at first I was a bit skeptic of him portraying a scientist. I have to admit, it worked super well. And even though the book is long, it has like almost 500 pages, and the movie is quite long, it's 2.5 hours. It had some length, some time, but he did a really good job about cutting some length from the book. It added some scenes that were not in the book too, but it worked super well. I feel like they transcribed very beautiful emotions. It's part of these movies that you're so excited and it's so enjoyable to like see the book being alive. How can I say it? To see the setting, to see the decor, to see Rocky, one of the main characters, and the relationship developing. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but from the beginning till the end it was super faithful. Sandra Hüller did a very good job at portraying, what was her name again, Eva Stratt? I loved it. I really loved it. It couldn't of course adapt everything that was talked about in the book, for sure. Sometimes it was just mentions here and there, but would I recommend it? Yes. 100%. Yes, go watch it, it's super fun. I don't think it's gonna be a favorite, in part because, spoiler alert, when Rylan Grace is meeting Rocky, the alien, the way they start talking and the way like he tries to learn his language and Rocky, I think it's a bit easy for the sake of the plot. That's why. But one thing I really loved also was, and it's from the book, but it just was portrayed so well in the movie too, is how the main character Rylan Grace has very psychological questioning about the fact that he's on a ship and he was not feeling brave enough to go on the ship, but he's like, oh okay, I'm that brave, like I'm sacrificing myself for humanity. And at the end we learn that he was forced on the ship. I just love this plot twist. And at the end he still wants to save the life of Rocky instead of going back to Earth because he can, thanks to Rocky. I'm not gonna say too much. If you know, you know. If you don't know, just watch the movie, please. It's so good. Amazing. And the next one, the final one I've seen, it was like 3 days ago for the sake of this video, is Hamnet by Chloe Zhao. I'm butchering the name, I think, for sure. But I read the book for Front of Pages book club this month. I'm not gonna review the book that much and go in depth because you're gonna have a wrap up, I think. Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I'm gonna give it like 4.5 stars, and the movie I'm gonna give it 5 stars. The choice of the actors I think is phenomenal. Paul Mescal as William Shakespeare, love it. Jessie Buckley as Agnes, love it too. The children too were so good. And to continue to talk about the things I loved in this movie is of course how Agnes was portrayed, almost super faithful to the book. I'm not here to like review the movie about how faithful they were, but how they are conveying the essence of the characters and the book. I want to remind you that just in case. And the setting in the 16th century England, loved the vibes, loved the colorization of the movie too. I was just a bit annoyed about the fact that in the book we have different point of views, especially from the children, and from the children we know that Agnes is not the perfect mother. She spent a lot of time outside, she does not behave like the proper mother in a household. She's not cooking all the time, she's not like, you know, doing all the chores and brodering and that stuff and managing a household, like the numbers of the household and the money, etc. She's not really doing that, but she's spending a lot of time outside with herbs, making a lot of tinctures, and she just spends a lot of times like healing people because they know she has some abilities about that. And in the movie she was really portrayed as this very present, I think, if I'm not mistaken, mother, whereas in the book she's not. And when, spoiler, sorry, when Hamnet die, William Shakespeare, their father, he's doing goings and comings between London and Stratford, I think they live in, and he's not there when he dies, and thus it impacts a lot the grief the family is feeling. Agnes resents him deep down for that. In the movie, he's just leaving, and then it goes directly onto the play he creates to deal with his grief. We assist in the movie the play during 30 minutes, which is like a quarter of the movie, which is not the case in the book. In the book it's like 10 pages, I don't know the precise amount of pages it is taking, but it's taking not even a tenth of the book. And I thought it was quite a shame to focus more on the play in the movie, whereas on the book we focus more on the grief and the absence of the father and how the mother is dealing with it, how she's in depression, how she cannot even take care of her children for some time. And so yeah, I thought that this was quite a shame. I forgot to say, but also in the book he cheated on her, which adds a lot of resentment. And the fact that he's even more absent, you know. I'm not like mad that they removed it, it was not like necessary, but they didn't even mention the fact that the father was super absent during this period of time, so yeah. But overall it was a very good adaptation. I was happy to see it. Would I see it again? I'm not really sure about that. So that were the movies I've seen recently. I really wanted to at first wait till the end of the year because there are so many adaptations coming this year. It's crazy in 2026. But I was like, okay, I want to yap about them and I would be very curious to know what you think about them if you've seen them. Please go in the comments and yap about them. I would love to discuss that with you. But I'm also very excited for movies that are still coming out this year. There is The Bride that is already out, but I haven't seen a lot of good critics about it. I don't know, I might watch it, but who knows. There's also Remarkably Bright Creatures that is coming in the beginning of April, I think, thanks to Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Then there's The Odyssey, of course. It's out in the 17th of July. There's Sense and Sensibility. I wasn't aware of that. In the 11th of September that is going out. There is also Sunrise on the Reaping coming out in the 20th of November. I'm so excited for this. And there is June coming out in December too, but I don't know if I'll be able to read the third volume of June. But yes, that's it guys. I'm not gonna take too much more of your time. As always guys, thank you for clicking, for watching till the end. I really hope you enjoyed this video and thus to see you on the next one. Most importantly, as always, thank you for being nice. That's what I appreciate the most with this corner of internet. And with that, I have to say bye.